Now, what I want to do, everybody, is I want to put into perspective and I want to put into context as to why I do not like savings accounts. Now, many people from a personal finance perspective may come after me and they may tell me, hey, what are you saying? What do you mean you don't like savings accounts? I'm going to explain to you why I don't. Okay. And this is just for me. This is not investment advice. This is just me personally, why I don't like savings accounts. Now, for perspective, these are some high yield online savings accounts. As you can see here, we have savings rates where we can get above 3%, 3.4%, 3.5%, 3.75%. We can get as high as 4.21% in these scenarios. And so with these high yield online savings accounts, are better than the interest rates that you can get for your other savings accounts, like savings accounts you would get at regional banks, like, Regions Bank or your regional credit union or something like that. You'll be able to get better rates at these savings accounts. And I understand, and your money will be safe here. Your money is going to stay there. But this is the problem. The first reason why I don't like savings accounts is because the high yield savings account is better than a normal savings account, like I just said. But the problem is that you're still not beating inflation. Let's put this into perspective, everyone. CPI, the Consumer Price Index, which measures the cost for inflation, was 6.4% year over year. So you're not getting anywhere near that with a 3.75% interest rate. You're not beating inflation, okay? That's the first thing. This is what I'm going to tell you. Your money has to be working harder for you than you are working for it. And your money can't work harder for you than you're working for it if your money is getting eaten up by inflation. It's only going to hurt you over a period of time and over a long period of time, especially if that balance in your savings account never gets touched. Imagine if it never gets touched and that money just continues to eat away. It doesn't need to be in the savings account. Number two, the interest rate that we enjoy right here, 4.21%, pretty much risk-free money. I will give you that. This is risk-free money. The problem is that it won't always be like this because these interest rates fluctuate. And remember, these interest rates fluctuate due to the federal funds rate, okay? The federal funds rate they've been raising that rate, okay? We've increased 450 basis points. The Fed has been continuously increasing that interest rate, but the 4.21% is still lower than the actual federal funds rate. But put this into perspective, all interest rates are higher. Interest rates for mortgages, interest rates for credit cards, interest rates for loans, right? All interest rates are higher, right? But this is the thing, interest rates will fluctuate. And we don't know what the interest rates will be in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. Every economist is telling us that there's a pretty high percentage that we're going to go into a recession. I can guarantee you this, if we go into a recession, this is what's going to happen. Interest rates are going to come down. Interest rates are going to come down. And when they come down, guess what? What if you get an interest rate that's about 1.75%? Or you get an interest rate that is 2%. If inflation is still hovering around 2 to 3%, you're still not going to be able to beat that rate of inflation. So it is safe to say that when you have a savings account, you will never beat the rate of inflation. You will never beat the rate of inflation. It will be very difficult for you to double your money. It's just going to be very, very difficult. And like I said, personal finance experts, they will come to me and they will say, well, the savings account is not designed to do that. Like I said before, your money has to be working harder for you than you are working for it. The capital that I am deploying needs to be making some money. And I cannot allow my money to just get eaten up by inflation. Number three, any savings account interest that you get, guess what? You're going to be taxed on it. You're going to be taxed on it. Savings account interest is taxed at the same rate as your earned income. The interest that you earn on regular savings, high yield savings, money market accounts, or certificates of deposit, which is another thing that I do not like, is reported on the IRS form on Form 1099 INT. Now, let's put this into perspective. The interest that you are getting from savings, from your savings account on money that is just sitting there, is going to be taxed at the same rate as your earned income. So let's say your ordinary income tax rate was 22% or 24% or 28%, which is pretty much the average American, right? You're going to be taxed on that at a 28% clip. Now, you may say, well, Devon, that's not really that much money. But understand this from the perspective, understand the perspective. And this is why this is so important to me, because you're getting taxed on money in a savings account at a higher rate than somebody who is collecting a dividend payment from a company. Run that back again, process that. I really want you to pick up what I am putting down. With a savings account, technically speaking, understand the concept. It's the principle. It's not necessarily the money, or it's not necessarily, you may not be having that much money in that savings account. But what if that savings account goes from 10,000 to 50,000? What if that savings account gets from 50,000 to 100,000, right? You're being taxed at a higher rate on the savings account than someone who is collecting a dividend from a company, a dividend payment that they're collecting quarterly, annually. That's what I'm trying to put into perspective. So if I'm being taxed on this money, okay, so number one, I'm being taxed on the money. Number two, the interest rate that the savings account is giving me, I can't be promised it. And number three, the high yield savings account is not beating inflation. Those three reasons right there are telling me that that is not a very, very good use of my capital. And that's a reason why I personally do not like savings accounts.